What is up, you guys? Toast and Coffee here, and welcome back to another episode of Second Circle. In today's episode, we're gonna be dating Azazel and Justice. So let's get this on with. So on the last date, we gotta get kicked out of a museum, and we got to know more of Azazel's experiment of existing and non-existing materials and living things in the world. After your debasel at the museum, Azazel sequesters herself to her room for days on end. And if it weren't for the communal mealtimes, you wouldn't see her at all. Although she seems relatively composed during breakfast and dinner, her solitude at all other times of the day, while not entirely abnormal, concerns you. The museum was the perfect place for her to gather up all the information for her thesis in a relatively short amount of time, after all. But now that she's been banned, you worry that she isn't taking things all too well. So one day you decided to check in with the curious angel. You knock on the door, unsure of what to expect. Come in, but Azazel sounds as chirpier as ever. Hey, it's just me. Huzzah, Mr. Taker. Came at the perfect time. I've just finished sorting through the organizing all of my notes from the museum. You glance to the side and see the neat piles of notes stacked precariously atop Azazel's desk. So, what have you been doing up here all this time? Yep. Thanks to our trip to the museum, I think I'll be able to shorten the time it'll take me to finish my thesis by about a decade. A decade. That's a lot. Aren't you upset that we can't go back? A little, but that's okay. I'm just happy I was able to get in what information I got. Thanks to you, I was able to finish my thesis 0.00001% quicker. That's certainly good to hear. So, what do you say we take a bit of a break to celebrate? That depends. What sort of break do you have in mind?
Break dance, baby.
Well, there's an ice cream cart in the park that I hear that just expanded their selection to 16 flavors. I was thinking we'd go there and maybe sample all of them. Perhaps we can even think about it as research for your thesis. I'm sure you'll need a selection of frozen treats sooner or later, right? At your suggestion, Azazel's eyes become as wide as saucers yet again. She hurriedly jots something down in her notebook before leaping to her feet. The angel dashes for the door, grabbing you by the arm on her way out. Don't just sit there, Mr. Taker. There's a research to be done. She all but drags you down the stairs. You just barely manage to snag your keys off the hook by the door as you are shoved outside. At your back, you catch the sound of someone shouting after you. What in the... Where are you off in such a hurry? Ice cream. If they have a coffee flavor, you better bring me a scoop. Okay, the door just slammed. You turn to respond, but find the door has already slammed shut behind you. Looking ahead, you see that Azazel is already sitting in the passenger seat, her face pressed firmly against the window. Sighing, you hop behind the wheel. Soon, the engine roars to life and you set your sights for the park. Yes. At the very moment you pull in, Azazel hops out and draws her notebook from her belt like some sort of action hero. You then lead the way forward until you hear the ice cream cart's soft jingle calling out to you. There we are. With Azazel bouncing at your heels, you approach the man at the cart. Lev, I thought you were tired. The old man sighs and looks at you with a weary expression hidden beneath his artificially cheerful customer service mask. I wish, my friend. Fortunately, my days are numbered. Oh, hired my replacement not too long ago. She's an odd one, for sure, but she'll do. In any case, what can I get you guys today? First, 2 scoops are on me. You glance back at Azazel. The angel returns your look with one of wide-eyed anticipation. We'll take one of everything, Lev. Though the old man raises an eyebrow, he doesn't protest. Coming right up. With that, he begins to scooping out drops of ice cream onto cones and handing it to you and Azazel. As you're watching the man dole out ice cream, you feel a weight at your back. You can't shake the feeling that you're being spied on, but when you turn around to look, you see nothing but an empty park. It doesn't take long before your arms fill up with ice cream. Fortunately, Lev is kind enough to provide you with a solution for such a problem, in the form of a cardboard tray which holds all the cones for you. Cool. True to his word, you get the first 2 scoops for free. Sadly, you have to pay for the other 14. After coughing up the cash, you and Azazel scout out a nice bench where you can sit and sample all the flavors. Now this is a date. Peaceful, enjoying ice cream, conversing with your partner. Now that's a good date. As you're treating yourself to a hearty sample of mint chocolate chip, the sensation of being watched returns. This time, however, you turn around to find the source and are startled to discover a familiar, stout little man standing directly behind you. What the hell? You nearly drop your tray of ice cream as you leap from your seat. Azazel, who had been taking note of her ice cream's viscosity, follows your gaze and, upon discovering the source of your fright, screams as well. It is the guardian of the Renaissance exhibit. He has come to exact his vengeance. Save the ice cream. Oh yes, save the ice cream. Of course, this tiny little old man will get your ice cream. Just as it looks like Azazel's going to flee, man interjects. Please, I mean you no harm. I only ask that you hear me out. You and Azazel exchange a hesitant glance. Alright. I came to apologize for chasing you out of the museum the other day. Wait, so you sought us out? How did you find us? That is not important. I think it's pretty important. What is important is that you were right, miss. I was? Yes. And so I was wrong to shout at you the way that I did. But I implore you to understand my position in the matter. The claim you made was damning. Something like that can ruin a reputation in an instant. Oh? And with the museum struggling for funding as it is, I desperately wanted to brush off your accusation as baseless. But I couldn't just bring myself to ignore it. Man, this guy has some dignity, didn't he? How did you find us exactly? I mean, we are in a park and we didn't exchange names, personal address, or something like that. You just found us. How? Your claim needled into my mind to such a degree that I found myself unable to sleep at night. And perhaps that is because I, too, had my doubts regarding the validity of some of those pieces. Quite a handful of them are so rare that I wonder how I ever managed to get my hands on them. But that is neither here nor there. What I'm trying to say is that my curiosity got the better of me. The curious angel who strikes again. And so I hired an forensic art specialist to suss out the matter. An impostor is among us. I thought that hearing it from an expert would put my anxious mind at ease. However, much to my chagrin, she confirmed right away that the piece in question was forgery. At this, the tearful man puts his face in his hands and begins to quietly sob. What am I to do now? Unsure of what to say, you look at Azazel. The angel frowns, but sits next to the man and begins to pat him on the back. There, tiny old man. Aww. Hey, where's the other one? Vanilla, chocolate, caramel, strawberry, mango, banana, rainbow, something, chocolate cream. But then again, those are only just 15 ice cream. Where's the other one? Would you like some ice cream? Azazel offers the man her cone. Touched by the gesture, the Curator smiles in spite of his tears and graciously accepts the frozen treat. Thank you. I wish there was more we could do. Well, if you'll permit me, there's a little more to the story. There is, indeed. After hearing from the forensic specialist, I grew suspicious. I was certain that I had the piece inspected before approving it for the gallery. So, I decided to dig out my old records, thinking that I must have missed something. But when I found the certification for that piece, it wasn't a forgery when you got it, was it? Precisely. Now that is a conundrum. Do you think someone could have stolen the original and replicated it with a fake? I have my suspicions, but no way to prove them correct. As I said before, the museum's findings is tremulous at best. I'm ashamed to admit that I dug into the last our budget just to hire the specialist to verify the validity or lack or just the one piece. Though I believe that some of the other paintings may have been stolen as well. I am at the end of my rope. Without money, I cannot prove these beliefs to be correct. And I'm afraid that if I were to call the authorities, the news would paint me as a charlatan who deals in fakes. I cannot have that happen. So, you're wondering if we would help you to figure out which of your pieces were fakes? Yes. Precisely. Though you feel a certain amount of sympathy for the old curator's plight, since the responsibility of sleuthing out forgeries falls upon Azazel's shoulders. The onus is on her to accept or deny the correct quest. As such, you look to the angel to see what is she plans to do. From the look in Azazel's eyes, you can tell that her heart aches for the man just as much as yours does, before she can open her mouth to accept his request. However, the Curator bursts into tears. Though his sobs, you can just barely make out his pleas. I have little that I can offer in return, and I wouldn't blame you for saying no after how I've treated you this far. But please, I beg of you to lend me your charity. Just this once, and I promise I will repay it in kind. Taken back by the man's sorrow, Azazel looks to you for affirmation. With a nod, you agree, silently, to help the poor Curator. Mr. Curator, please, don't cry. We will help you. All at once. The sobbing stops and the man looks up to Azazel with a look of hope. Do you mean that? We do. Eee, look at him, so joyful now. We wouldn't be able to come today, but we will make time to be there soon. Hearing this, the Curator leaps to his feet and hurries to shake your hand. Though her tears still glisten at the corners of his eyes, the radiance of his joy quickly dries them away. Anytime will do, really. Just give me a call when you're on your way and I will shut down the exhibit for you both. Will do. I wish there was something I could do in return, but the only thing in my power to offer is a first look at all new exhibits before they are put out on the museum floor. She's excited. Typically, this is a privilege reserved for historians and researchers. But would that be something you are interested? You glance over the Curator's shoulder. Azazel's eyes are gleaming with excitement. Yeah, I think we'd like that very much. I'm glad to hear it. I look forward to your call. And with that, the Curator departs, disappearing out of thin air. As you watch him leave, you cannot help but notice a certain spring in his steps. Turning back to Azazel, still awestruck by the opportunity that has fallen neatly into your laps, you let out a sigh. It's getting late. Shouldn't we be heading home too? Can we go to the museum tomorrow? We'll see. Before leaving the park, you stop by at Lev's ice cream stand and pick up a scoop of coffee ice cream for Pandemonica. With renewed vigor, you and Azazel find yourselves thrust into an all-new adventure. And as you look at Angel sitting next to you, it is difficult to imagine sharing in this particular adventure with anyone else. Well, that was quick, and so I'm guessing there's like a third date for all of these demons, since we still haven't finished all of them. Basically, there isn't a good ending. We're just proceeding to their story, to the second chapters of their story as well. So that's Azazel. And how many minutes did that take? It only took 21 minutes, and for you guys that'll be like, I don't know, 13 minutes. With that in mind, we will now go to Justice's state. True to your word, you and Justice start hitting the gym on a regular basis. Ooh, we're so buffed. Ah, yes. Though grueling at times, the workouts leave you feeling better than ever. With a newfound spring in your step, you decided that it's time to complete some of the more millennial household errands that you had been putting off until now. Starting with some of the boxes that are laying around in Modi's closet, you began carting your old junk out to the car for donation. As you're carrying a particular cumbersome box, one filled to the brim with your old model sets and paints, you run into Justice in the living room. Literally. Whoa there, Chief. You clattered to the ground in an amazing display of stewage like physical comedy. Then, as if that wasn't enough, your withered tape holding the box together gives you away and its contents spills out onto the floor. Sorry, Taker. I didn't hear you coming. It's alright. Here, let me help you clean up. Oh, that isn't necessary. Nonsense. I'm happy to help before I can protest any further. Justice, already feeling around the floor, she places her hand on one of the pieces that had escaped the box. Whoa, we already have a thumbnail. Aha! Oh, look at those eyes. Still very beautiful. Oh, what's this? It's nothing. Look at me, sweating out like a butter on a hot summer day. Doesn't feel like nothing. It looked like an action figure painted. You watch with a mix of horror and embarrassment as Justice ponders over the object in her hands. Now, What have we here? A toy of some sort. You know, this reminds me of a lot of nights that were all over the place when I was young. I remember children would run around with these little wooden replicas of warriors they favored the most. Could this be one of your old toys when you were a kid? Not exactly. Oh. It's a model. A model? Yeah. Collecting them was an old hobby of mine. What do you do with them after you collect them? Well, you're supposed to paint them. After that, it depends on the person, I suppose. Some people just kept them around to look at it. Other people like to use them in games. I see. What would you do with them? Well, I painted them and put them up for display, but you look sheepishly at the figure that Justice has in her hands. Color choice aside, the paint job itself is atrocious. The paint gobbled on so thickly that many of the model more intricate details have been lost. Beyond that, the shading is inconsistent. The free handwork looks like a child's crayon drawing. And there's still evidence of glue at the joints where the excess was not wiped away properly. But what? I never got the hang of it. Painting was never really my strong suit. So, what are you gonna do with them now? I'm not sure. They've just been sitting in boxes, cluttering up Maurice's closet since I got back from hell. Maybe someone who's been better at painting can strip the color and do them up properly. With a sigh, you begin gathering up the figures that lay scattered over the living floor. Expecting Justice to pitch in and help right away, you are surprised when the demon does not move. Justice, looking up, you are met with a surprising sight. Justice is frowning. You don't like painting anymore. No, I do. It's just... Then why are you getting rid of this stuff? Well, I haven't touched it in a long time, so all it's doing is taking up space. Why don't you just move it all onto your room then? I could do that, I suppose, but what? I just really don't think I'm cut out for painting, Justice. I gotta be honest with you, Taker. It makes me sad to think you're giving up on something you once enjoyed. You say you aren't good at painting. So what? Is there a competition? No. Do you have to be the best painter out there? No, I suppose not. Then answer me this honestly. Even though the paint jobs weren't great, you still enjoyed painting, didn't you? I did. Then who cares? Pardon? Look, I know that it feels good to be good at something, but this is a hobby, man. You're not entertaining them in any competitions and you aren't selling them for profit. So who cares if you're good or not? All that matters is you and the enjoyment you get out of the deal. That reminds me of making videos on starting this channel. Like, even though I'm not gaining monetization out of anything just yet, and I've been doing this since 2020, it made me realize something. I'm making videos for fun and for my enjoyment, and for you guys' enjoyment too, since this is what I love, playing games. Editing them less than playing games, but I enjoy playing games because it's my escape from the world right now, and it helps me understand what other people's perspective is, like for some kind of games which like has some story and every character has their own perspective on things. Yeah, it really helps me become a better person, and it also helps me with some skills and conversing more, learning more vocabulary too. That's why I started YouTube. But then again, it's all just for fun. Whatever happens in the near future, if I never make videos, I will probably still make them because I enjoy it. Yeah, this is what I do, and I'm having fun while doing it. Right? Okay. At the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you what to do here. If you really want to get rid of this stuff, go for it. I won't stop you. But if you ask me, I don't think you really want to close the door on this hobby. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you enjoyed the hell out of painting these things, and the only reason you're quitting is because there's this little voice in your head that's needing you to saying that you have to be good at something for it to be worthwhile. Well, I say screw that. Being good at a hobby is secondary. Yeah, happiness is what really counts. Yes. In this state of the world, happiness is what we want. You find yourself looking down at the figures resting in your palm. What have I done? You guys, I love you. I will paint you again and again. I will do my best to make you look good and edgy. It's true. The paint job is horrendous, but nevertheless, you recall the excitement you felt when you brought it home and took it out of the box. You remember staring wide-eyed at the pieces laid out before you, daydreaming all of the colors you wanted to use. It took you all afternoon just to paint that one figure. An afternoon well spent. You're right. I do miss this hobby, and I don't really want to get rid all of this stuff. Then don't. Here, let me help you clean all up, and then we can set it up in your room. Yeah, maybe you can describe me just how you've painted some of these little dudes. You nod and set to work cleaning up the figures off to the living room. With Justice's help, it doesn't take you long at all, and the two of you are sitting side by side on your bed, with the box of contents laid out before you. Grinning from ear to ear, Justice has the figure of a knight in her hand and is feeling it over with her fingertips. And what about this one? It's red. Just red? Yeah. Well, what kind of red? Is it a deep blood red or a bright crimson? Does it matter? If I see red, it's red. I don't typically put other words in red if it's red. Or maybe it's closer to a soft rose. No, it's not like that. It's a red. Yes, that's how boys typically describe colors. It's red. Oh, just red. No, there's also some yellow for the lions on his head shield. I see. And how about this one? Ah, that's an elf sort of character. I painted her robes green. As you watch Justice plays with a figure in her hand, a thought occurs to you. Just say Justice. I don't want to sound rude, but how can you picture what colors are what? I wasn't always blind, you know? You weren't? No, when I was much younger, I could see. Oh? What happened? Well, I would like the long story, please. Perhaps one for another day. Sorry, I didn't mean to pry. Don't worry about it, Chief. If it were up to me, I'd have no problem telling you all about it. But since there are others in this house that are involved in that story, I don't want to out their pasts without their consent, you know? I understand. Without missing a beat, Justice reaches for another figure. What about this? What color is this one? Actually, I haven't painted that one yet. Oh, really? Yeah. I've been meaning to get around to it, but I've been a little sidetracked lately. Well, what are you waiting for now? You've got the paints and the brushes? Now is a good time as any to slap a coat on this bad boy. I suppose you're right. Let's see here. You rummage around the box for your paints. However, much to your dismay, you find them in bad sorts. Many of the hues have leaked out due to being improperly closed, while others have gone bad outright. Damn. What is it? My paints are bad. Ah, that's a bummer. Looks like I didn't close them properly. I'll have to restock at some point. Where do you usually get your paints? There's a little hobby shop in town. They've got a big wall of paints, so I shouldn't have a problem loading up on a new colors. Can I come with you? You really want to? Of course. We can browse through some of their models too, right? I should expand my collection, shouldn't I? That's what I like to hear. So it's a date, right? Yeah, it's a date. So, conclusion to the story. I do this every time with every date. She got a sorry from the curator of the museum, obviously. Then the curator cries while we are eating ice cream, and Azazel, much as an angel herself, she gives one ice cream to the curator, and he says thank you for that. The curator says he wants help because the new stocks of paintings for the gallery might be stolen, might be fake as well, so they need Azazel's help. So that's another date. And Justice's date is first one, I would like to know the backstory of her blindness in this particular game, not the Flykeeper one, because they might be intertwined with each other, since that might be the case. Okay, that's one backstory. And next is we need to get the consent of every character in this game for their past. Next is we are going to another paint store. So there's another date. So 2 dates. So is there like what 4 dates in a row with these demons? That's a lot of dates. So I think that's that, everybody. That was a pretty short. I anticipated it would be long, like Zidrada and Melina's ones. Then again, this game has been really exciting. The lore of everything, the interactions of characters are so amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and subscribe to the channel. Write a comment down below what you think of this video and what might other questions you want me to ask in the future. And yeah, like the video also. And thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys stay toasty, everybody. Peace.